It's about 1 p.m. and I'm sitting at my desk working when I see a moving truck across the street. It's not an especially unusual thing to see. We get them all the time in this neighborhood, but something about it struck me as weird. I went to the front window to get a better look. A guy around my age was coming out of the truck carrying boxers. He was tall, lean, and had dark brown hair, just like me. I thought, wow, there's some crazy coincidences. People who look alike always seem to be moving into our neighborhood at the worst possible times, don't they? Then I saw him take off his shirt and do some stretches, and I realized it wasn't a coincidence at all. This man looked exactly like me. Same height, same build, same white t-shirt, black jeans, and black running shoes. Even his smile lines were the same. It was me. I mean, this guy was a carbon copy of me. My first thought was, how could I have not noticed him moving in? Then my second thought was, I bet my friends think this is hilarious. So I picked up my phone and sent them a picture of our new neighbor with the caption, "You'll never guess who moved in across the street." What I didn't expect was for any of them to reply, "Who cares?" They all did. Every single one of them replied, "Who cares?" And then my best friend added, "Dude, why haven't you gone and introduced yourself yet?" To which I replied, "He looks exactly like me. I think I need to investigate." And that's when I got the perfect opportunity to investigate. I was walking my dog back from the park, and as we turned onto our street, we saw our neighbor walking towards us with 2 dogs of his own. My dog Bruno usually stays close by my side when we walk around the block, but this time he broke his lead and ran up to the other guy, started licking his face and wagging his tail like they were best friends. And our neighbor, my doppelgänger, scratched him behind the ears and said, "Thanks, Bruno." What? How could he know my dog's name? As if that wasn't freaky enough. He then turned to me, flashed what I assumed was a friendly smile, and said, "Nice dog. I'm your new neighbor. By the way, what's his name again?" My mind was blown. Did he really not know my dog's name? Or was he messing with me? Either way, I was getting weirded out. So I tried to change the subject. "How long have you lived here?" I asked. He paused for a moment, as if trying to remember something. "I just moved in today actually." He said, "Are you sure?" I asked, still confused. He smiled again, but it was almost like he was smiling too hard. If you know what I mean, it was like he was trying to convince himself that everything was okay. For the rest of the walk, Bruno stayed by my side, growling lightly at my neighbor the whole time. My neighbor seemed to notice because he kept looking over at Bruno and smiling. We finally reached our front porches and he waved. I waved back and he mimicked my exact wave. I swear it was like looking at a funhouse mirror. On my front porch, Bruno started barking at him, and my neighbor laughed and said, all right, I get it. Your dog doesn't like me. See you later." He turned and walked away, disappearing around the corner. As soon as he was out of sight, Bruno stopped barking. I felt kind of bad for the guy. I mean, obviously he didn't know how strange he was acting, and maybe it would be weird if somebody came up to him and said, "Hey man, you gotta stop waving exactly like me or else my dog's gonna bark at you." That sounded ridiculous. So I decided to let it go and try to focus on something more productive, like finishing that project I had been procrastinating on. But a few days later, I was working late and I heard a noise outside. I went to the window and there he was standing in his yard, staring directly at my house. He was smiling, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was like a creepy smile. I quickly pulled the curtains closed and tried to get back to work, but it didn't help. Every time I looked back at the window, I could have sworn he was still there watching me, and then the lights in my kitchen flickered. I wasn't sure if I should tell anyone. I mean, it's not like I could prove anything, and even if I did, what would they do? Tell my neighbor to stop winking at me. Still, though I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, and as the days passed, it only got worse. One night, I was at work and our neighbor came over to our house and pressed the doorbell. I could hear him talking to my wife, but I couldn't make out what he was saying. When I got home that night, I asked her what he wanted. He said he was expecting a delivery. She replied, but I told him, "You weren't expecting anything." "Weird," I said. "Did he leave?" "No, he said he'd wait until you got home." "What?" I was confused. Why would he want to talk to me? Well, as it turned out, he had a reason. When I opened the front door that night, there was a big grin on his face. He looked excited, like he was hiding something. "Hey man," he said, "do you remember me? We met while walking our dogs a few days ago." "Of course I remember you," I lied. "Why are you here?" "Oh, I was just waiting for you to get home, so I could give you this," he said, holding out a small cardboard box. It was wrapped in bubble wrap and had the return address for Amazon. I opened it and found a wireless security camera. "You ordered this?" he asked. "Nope," I said. "I didn't order this. There must be some mistake." He took the box back without saying a word, and just like that, he turned and walked away. I stood there, stunned. Who orders a security camera and then forgets about it? And why would our neighbor try to deliver it to me in person? That was the moment I decided enough was enough. I raced to my laptop and pulled up our Ring doorbell camera. I scrolled through the footage, and there he was. He was standing on my welcome mat, holding a package. He rang the bell, smiled, handed my wife the box, and then walked away. My blood boiled as I watched the rest of the clip. He was grinning ear to ear. I mean, why was he doing this? And then it happened. He reached out his hand and opened the front door with a key. He walked inside and shut the door behind him. That's when I knew I had to go home immediately. Maybe I would find out what was going on. Maybe I wouldn't. But I needed to see for myself. When I got home, I found the door unlocked. Was he still inside? I didn't dare go in. So I called the police and waited for them to come to my house. They searched everywhere, but they didn't find anybody. I even checked the security footage again. And it turns out our neighbor disappeared after he entered my house. There were no signs of forced entry, and nothing appeared to be missing. The cops said it was probably a case of mistaken identity, but I knew that wasn't true. He wouldn't have known my dog's name. He wouldn't have recognized my wife. And he definitely wouldn't have known how to open my front door. As the weeks passed, I tried to put the whole thing out of my mind. But every time I went to my front window, I saw him standing in his yard watching me. And every time I looked at my framed family photos, I saw his creepy smile staring back at me. It's been about 6 months now, and I still live in that house. But these days, I don't go outside much. I keep telling myself he's just a neighbor. But every day he looks more like me, and I feel less like myself.